Hello and welcome to Trolls of the Two Tonne Bridges, or TOTTB. My name is John and I play Percival Silverlight. Thanks for joining us once again on our adventure through Chult. We do appreciate each and every one of you, especially you at the back. Yep, you. Come say hi to us on all of our social medias on TOTTB Podcast. That's TOTTB Podcast. Last week we started to get deep into the politics of Port Nyanzaru. I wonder what's going to happen this week. Let's find out as you join me on the adventure.
The log of Percival Silverlight. We have gone from warriors defending Malar's throat to rubbing shoulders with the rich and powerful merchant princes of Port Nyanzaru. We met with Jasmine, merchant prince of, getting rid of people you don't like, where she rewarded us for saving her life with a bag of gems and some truth serum. And now we intend to meet with Jobel, merchant prince of guides. We will be meeting him at the Colosseum, where Wakanga has made it clear we should be very careful about talking to him about our journey into the jungle, as he apparently can be rather jealous. We should also be careful of conversation involving Rana. I wonder what we could be gifted by Jobel. More gems would be appreciated. The adventure!
So, the party make their way, slightly meandering, to the Red Market as they go, towards the Colosseum. Now, the Colosseum is accessed by a winding stair that you can see just down here, and is enclosed by fairly high actual city walls. So this whole area is just kind of like nice and enclosed. You get to the Colosseum, and Steve, the guard, is indeed there to greet you.
Oh, hang on, before we get to the Colosseum, just before we get there, before they can see us,
Okay.
Silky says to Lana, Lana, do you want to change before we're in eye shot of anybody?
Yes. So, Rana ducks into an alleyway, and there's a brief pause, and then a small woolly monkey, which is like a spider monkey, but it's got like dark grey fur that looks like it's looks like a sheep. If a sheep was a monkey with really long arms. Best way to describe it.
Can he be wearing a fez and a little waistcoat?
Abu.
And called a boot.
Roller skates. He
He transforms into his monkey form. He then just a question, Zibby. You carry a shield, do you not?
Yes.
Do you normally? Is it slung on your back usually?
Normally, yes. Well, if I'm not using it, yes.
If you're not using it, so Rana scampers up and then leaps onto the top of the shield, and then basically perches on top of the shield as it, and then peers over Zibby's shoulder, and basically that's now his perch. Now he lives there.
Nice.
That's his home.
Are we going to pretend Rana's Zibby's pet or something?
Well, let's not even mention it.
Yeah, could do that.
Right. So in that case, Siliqui, she's got like leather strappy, like long, sort of, almost like leather laces, if you like, wrapped around her wrists, those band things. She undoes one, and she makes like a sort of like a slip kind of collar thing for Rana. Puts it on his neck slightly. It's a long, a long thread, and it makes like a little hand bit. So basically, it looks like it's almost like a lead, if you like, between Rana and Zibby. So it looks like he's a pet as opposed to just random monkey that's joined us.
Are you okay with that, Rana?
What, to have a leash?
Yeah.
I look at him and show him first as well, and be like, to make sure he's okay with it before I put it on him.
Rana bats the leash away, and instead jumps onto Siliqui's bag, rummages around in her pack for a second, and then comes out with one of his little hands smeared in some paint, some pigment from Siliqui's paint set. And then he paints 2 stripes on his little cheeks in purple, and then jumps back onto the thing. So he's got two little face stripes and purple paint on his face.
So he's got war paint on, basically.
Okay. I was going to say, so Rana, you're doing that. Siliqui, do you want him to do that, or do you want to stop him?
No, it's fine.
No, you're letting him just paint on himself and then jump back. Right. Okay. Cool.
Zibi does a stage wink to Siliqui and goes, "Stop trying to put the leash on my monkey. I've trained him very well, I'll have you know. He can do tricks and all sorts."
In response to this, Rana puts his hands on his hips in like a little monkey, and then sticks his tongue out, and then turns around and just carries on being perched on the shield.
See, I taught him to do that.
It's very impressive.
Very clever. Ah, yes, it reminds me of the time when I was battling against a dark lord who would always dress in black. We were trying to break into his prison where he was keeping a princess. Me and my compatriots, including a giant hairy man, had to work out how to get into this prison. We decided to pretend my giant hairy companion was actually a prisoner. We dressed up in their suits of armor and then loosely placed the manacles around his arms, just to pretend that he was a captured prisoner. Of course, we took him up to the detention level. Of course, things never go quite to plan, but that's a whole other story.
It sounds... Yes.
Just now that literal monkey business is out of the way. So,
Oh, I don't think it
I
is.
don't think it is at all. It's just like we're all in for monkey business here. You head on up to the Colosseum. Is there anything else you guys want to do before you go in? I know there was that talk just there. Is there anything else you want to do just now?
I'm okay.
Nope.
I guess should we
No,
talk
I
to
think-
Steve
yeah.
to see if he, just make sure that we're all dressed appropriately and stuff?
I'm sure it's absolutely fine.
As you walk up, you can see that there are... Okay, it's a little hard to tell because, of course, it is raining, so quite a few people are covering up against the rain. But there is a spectrum of different dress styles. There are people that look like they're sort of dressed in common clothes, where, they've got the bare necessities.
Sorry, you said monkey business, bare necessities. I genuinely thought you were going to going down the whole Jungle Book naming convention. I thought you were going to go King of the Swingers would be a great name for the, so many things. I mean, you said bare necessities without. I could tell you didn't mean it in that way, but
it's just
my heart loved it. As soon as you said it, my heart was like, yes, this is exactly accurate.
Oh,
So Siliqui kind of sort of runs her hands through her hair and tries to make sure that's kind of just a little bit nicer, and sort of brushes her clothes down to make sure that they look a bit nicer. And she's also, just because she's arty and she thinks it'll look nice, hang on one sec, I will show you.
Oh, okay.
She is also...
Use your word pictures.
Use your word.
Yep, she's also going to... She's going to get a sketchbook out of her pocket, like a combat trouser type pocket, and rip a page out. And she's going to fold it, origami style,
Right.
into a little top hat like this, and place it on top of Rana's head, just to make him look smart.
So he's got a little paper top hat. Yep, sure, fine, whatever.
I mean, I'm on board.
Let's be honest,
Rana
it's the
thinks this
weirdest
is
thing.
excellent. Rana picks up the hat, and he doesn't really know what bowing is, but he's seen people do it in the city, and he sort of, while sort of bobbing around on the back of the shield, holding on with his tail and everything, he sort of does like a mock bow with the hat, and then puts it back on his head, and then carries on going on his way.
Okay. with your top-hatted monkey, you head on over to the entrance. There's a brief moment of sort of milling around trying to work out who Steve is. But eventually, a guard beckons over to you.
Which is basically a shout Steve and see who looks round.
Wait, was it Alan we were asked for?
No, Steve. Steve the guard. No, Steve.
No, you eventually find Steve. And there's a brief pause while he takes in the fact that Zibby has a monkey on his shoulder and just says, "Is he well trained?"
No, he's a very bad monkey.
Don't touch him.
Can he come? Is he like house trained though?
He's temperamental.
Aye, he's fine, I'm kidding.
His penmanship's atrocious, though.
Aye, his spelling's shocking.
Well, you'll be responsible for his behaviour then. Just know.
Oh, I'm not responsible for anything he does.
Rana waves at the man from his perch on top of his shield.
I mean, he's lovely. Look at his hat.
He goes to start waving back and sort of almost like shakes himself like, what am I doing? I'm waving at a monkey. And just says, right, well, the merchant princes are expecting you in the gold box. Come, follow me. And he leads you up a flight of stairs inside the Colosseum. As you're led in, you hear, over the sounds of sort of milling that's going on from the spectators, you start to hear the general hubbub that comes from a crowd watching a battle. And I'm going to put on the battle music we have, but I'm going to put it a little bit lower because you're not actually in battle.
We're battle adjacent.
Yeah, you're battle adjacent. You're near fighting. Occasionally you do hear like the ding of sword on shield.
You can hear other people rolling dice.
Alright, you can, you're led up and up, higher than most of the other spectators that are crowding into what you can only assume are the paupers' seats. And eventually you are led up into a box, which is quite richly decorated.
Oh, this is nice.
Though Steve had called it a gold box, it actually, a silken fur box would have been a better description for it. As
Is
there
that
are...
not a bit rude?
Sorry? I honestly don't know. I don't know if that's a... Is that a... You know what? Regardless, I'm going to skate over it. The floor has thick rugs across it, and the walls are covered with rich draperies, and there's the smell of incense on the air. In the gold box, you can see immediately in your view there are two men and a woman seated in a viewing area that is clearly looking down into the main Colosseum. Past them, you can see other sort of gilded and silk-awninged boxes that are in a ring around the Colosseum. These three people are looking down into it. One of them you recognize is Wakanga, who, on hearing Steve gaining their attention by whacking his shield with his liquor, he turns round and says, "My friends, come join us. Welcome to the box." Comes over to shake your hands and bring you into the box, as the other two that he's watching with turn to look at you. The woman is much larger than the man. Both have dark hair and dark skin. The woman is fairly well dressed, but sort of plainly dressed, and you can see that on much of her skin there are scars that sort of run crisscrossing almost across her skin. The most prominent one being actually on her face, which looks kind of like a claw mark. The man, on the other hand, is almost competing with Wakanga in how well dressed he is. Like it would be a hard call between him, Wakanga, and Percival for who was dressed best, as he clearly looks like he's, taking care of himself. He has a afro and is sort of reclining in a, what did you call it, Percival? A chaise lounge? One of those seats that's like... Yeah, that's the one.
Yes.
And he turns over rather than sort of getting up, but the woman gets up and is smiling at you guys as you enter. Wakanga says, "Welcome, friends. My fellow princes, these are the defenders of the throat, the ones that helped hold off the horde from our lovely Jessamine. My friends, this," he points to the woman, "is Enki Afa, the merchant prince of weapons, and the most legendary warrior this Colosseum has seen, additionally. And this, of course, is Jobel." Both of them nod towards you, and Enki cuts in to say, Is it true you held off zombies all night?
I suppose we did, really. I don't like to brag.
No, but I will.
No, but we know somebody that does. It wasn't quite all night, but we did hold them off for quite a while.
We did.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that I started seeing a sliver of the sun coming up over the horizon, just as I managed to stab the very last zombie.
No, that was the fireballs being fired down by the Dragonborn.
Yes, I believe Wakanga and the Dragonborn got the last few, Percival. I don't think it was you.
Well, it was all such a whirlwind.
Jobo chuckles and says to Wakanga, "That one's clearly got your smooth tongue, Wakanga. I can see why you like him."
Well, I like you guys too.
Let me introduce us. This one's Percival.
Pleased to meet you.
I'll let him introduce himself later properly. I'm sure you'll never hear the end of it.
I was waiting for the other people to. I mean, I don't want to be rude.
And this is the Reverend Zibby. He's a wonderful man over here.
Puts 2 fingers to his head and so little salute thing. Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you all.
And this is his emotional support monkey.
Emotional support monkey.
Don't look him in the eye.
Fascinating.
Yes. He's a bit like a
Is he
pet, really,
trained?
but he's lovely. He's well trained, yes. Well, look at his hat.
In response, Rana sort of lifts up his hat as though he's, like touching the brow of his hat like he would when you're being polite, as though he's, really well trained. And then just when people think, oh, wow, what, that's an unusually trained monkey, he picks up the hat and starts chewing it.
Do you have any food? I'm sure he'd love a banana.
Why, of course. Have a look in the back, and as you turn, you see that there is actually a small kind of bar actually set up in the back of the box, where there is a bartender pouring out 4 drinks, which Wakanga announces is on him for you guys.
Oh, thank you very much.
So it's not a free bar then.
And I am Siliqui. Pleased to meet you all.
Fabulous. It is an honour to meet your acquaintance, my dear, and indeed all of you. Come, pull up a chair. And there are a number of chairs. So it's not a very large box. At the back there is the bar, and it's maybe 30 feet or so towards the front. And the front has got a little lowered wall from which at any number of seats, either reclined or straight backed, you can see down into the Colosseum. Looking down, you can see that below the boxes are these sort of... This is again, you imagine the Colosseum in Rome. It's basically this. It's a little bit longer so that you could possibly have some races in the arena down below. Right now, it appears that there are a number of fighters currently engaged in melee. And in the sort of benches that surround it, you can see all number of people. That sort of almost microcosm of Port Nyanzaro. There's clearly, well-to-do people mixing with commoners, all cheering on their respective fighters. And above all of that is the gold boxes, which are these 7 boxes around the top. Clearly, it doesn't take much to work out that one must be for each of the merchant princes to view at leisure from. Right. And you are invited to come and sit and join and have a look at the fights. Or if you wish, you can do something else entirely. Up to you guys. You have a drink at the bar that you may take. Siliqui, you have had one poured that is non-alcoholic, as Wakanga knows that you aren't one for alcohol. Though he does say that you should probably try some if you're to enjoy yourself. But
You're trying to get me drunk, Wakanga.
It's crossed his mind, I imagine. As you go to sit, Enki and certainly Wakanga sort of helping you guys with your retail is most interested in knowing, the details of what went down last night. She wants to know how many did you kill, what kind of techniques do you use. She's very much intrigued to know what kind of fighting styles do you guys have, because that seems to be something that quite interests her, is how much prowess do you guys have?
Well, you'll find that we all have our own particular avenues that we go down. Certainly I know that Siliqui here is a master of the fists.
A master of the fists, indeed. Elaborate for me.
I'm a monk. I'm
Elaborate for me. I'm a monk.
Got it. Thank you, Silky.
I'm not really a fisticuffs like fighter. I'm more of a I am fast and dexterous. I am nimble as opposed to pure strength.
You should see her. She's able to throw these kind of weird sunbolt things at things.
I have a few weapons as well.
I'm going to say things again.
Say things again then.
Things.
Fascinating. Where did you train?
It was quite far away, actually. It was in the Temple of the Yellow Rose. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. The entire temple is built on a glacier.
Fascinating. Must have been a very chilly existence.
The temple itself is well built and well insulated, but outside, yes, it can get pretty rough and pretty chilly. But there was quite a lot of us there. It was quite big. I wouldn't say it was super fancy.
But what about the fighting, Silky?
Well, the fighting, I kind of developed my own style, really.
I know all about that, yes. You do have to find your own way in the world sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, with the girls, they were more focused on us dancing and the way we moved with the sounds of music. Whereas with the boys, it was more about the strength and the weaponry, the skill with that. And I didn't want to just be dancing. I could dance, yes, but I wanted to fight. So I developed a mix of the two. So when really, it's my style. It's not really anybody else's.
Very nice.
And Zibby here. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, Silky.
That's okay, Percival. I'm used to it.
Yes, and Reverend Zibby here is a master of the hammer.
I wouldn't like to say master, but I have a wee bit of help from Big Man Thor upstairs.
Ah, so you're a cleric. You wield the power of thunder.
I mean, it's far more than that.
I do. And lightning when I feel like it.
I would say it's more than that, though, Zibby. I mean, at last fight, a lot of the help you asked Thor for, he was a bit slow, to be fair. I mean, look how long it took that hammer to catch up with us. Whereas you did all the work yourself. Every zombie and everything else that got hit, it was you. It wasn't Thor, it was you.
So who had the highest kill count, then?
Probably me.
Well,
just out of character, sort of like, are we sort of looking at each other going, then what's that fucking dinosaur there?
Can't mention Rana. We can't mention Rana.
Yes, I actually am not entirely sure who had the highest kill count. I just think it's something Enki would have asked. Yeah,
I think it was Rana. I think it definitely was Rana.
It could have been Rana.
She was going to look her in the eye and goes, it was my monkey.
It was quite possibly, actually.
Enki, there's a beat, and then Enki and Jobel just burst out laughing.
I would say either the monkey or Zindar. Zindar actually came quite late, but he was very good.
So Wakanga wasn't lying about Zindar joining then?
No, not at all.
Oh, it was magnificent.
You actually saw Zindar fight?
We did.
And fly.
It was wondrous.
Hello, I'm back.
Hello.
It's back from climbing on Zibby's shield.
It's back from getting a fruit salad, yeah.
That's how I always refer to using the bathroom. My family have always called it grabbing a fruit salad. It's a stat.
It's very strange.
Yeah. Hundreds of years between that. There are diaries from the 1800s where it's a common term of reference.
It's a common term of reference around our way.
Yes, it is.
Many contribularities. I'm just going to grab a fruit salad.
What?
Exactly that, yes.
What?
At least it's not, getting a pudding cup or something.
I do hope many people get that
Totally
reference.
And we don't get sued by the BBC.
The talk continues for a little while. Enki tells you that she prefers the dual-wielding Nikwas in her fighting, as she feels like a shield would just overbalance her, and while it offers defense, it just slows you down.
I would love to see you fight sometime, or show me what you do, like with your moves. Things would be lovely to watch.
Zibby's quite interested in talking to her because back home he was quite a big fan of the gladiatorial arenas. Before he moved into the temple.
You can easily tell that this is precisely the sort of thing that Enki wants to hear about and talk about, and she is very happy to regale you with tales from her own days as a gladiator, including near misses and close shaves that she's had in the arena, including the one that actually won her money. Was she was set against 3 other gladiators that were all at least a foot taller than her.
Wow.
Yeah, she was able to snatch victory away by essentially using actually parts of the arena to her advantage, including one instance where somebody went to attack her and she ducked out of the way and they broke their weapon on the side of the arena.
See, I love being dexterous like that when you're fast and sometimes being smaller and nimble. It can work wonders.
Zippy's quite happy sitting there talking gladiatorial fights with her. Yeah, they turn to her and say, I mean, that sounds amazing. I would kill to have seen something like that. I mean, have you ever heard of Blixer the Butcher? He was the heavyweight champion of the North back over there.
No, that rings a bell. I feel like I have heard somebody, one of my tradespeople came in and told me about that. I think somebody definitely once tried to sell me like they seem to have this, like, I don't know, it was like a belt of some kind. They said that this Blix had won it. And it was clearly a fake, obviously, but it was just, I remember that.
He made out of cardboard.
I don't quite know what happened to the chappie. I mean, he got his freedom. He became the champion, and he left. Took up as in the adventuring lifestyle, and nobody heard from him after that. It was really weird.
As the conversation continues, you have your drinks from Wakanga, and you notice that there is one other person in the box with you when Jobel calls for another drink. The bartender himself will pour out the drink, but a man that you previously hadn't spotted, who's just kind of been off to one side, sort of not exactly in amongst the Silka awnings exactly, but he is sort of like, he's just keeping himself conspicuous, has sort of stepped forward and refills Jobel's glass. This man has a number of tattoos over his hands and over his face, and you can see a pair of stilettos, and you hear Jobel refer to him
Stilettos,
as
did you
Azon.
say?
Yeah, stilettos, as in the blades, not the heels.
As in the knife.
Oh, I thought he was a man covered in tattoos wearing stiletto heels.
Yeah, no. I mean,
Red ones and a little white miniskirt, yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of tempted to say that that's what it is now, but no, I meant the blades. The actual, like, stiletto blades at his hips. What the point there was that you hear Jobel refer to him as Azon, who you had heard about from Jessamine. After a while, when Enki's conversation starts to die down a little bit more and she turns back to looking to the fights, Jobel turns to you and says, "So I understand from Wakanga that you are looking to traverse the jungles of Chort. Is this correct?"
Aye, that it is.
Yes, that is true, Jobel.
You will be needing a guide if you are to survive in these places. The jungle can be very perilous, and
Yes.
I have the best guides in the city.
Aye, well, we know it can be a wee bit perilous. I mean, we didn't realise quite how bad it was, so we took a wee trip into the jungle and just...
You took a trip.
We were very lucky to make it back, I think.
Like, very lucky seems to be your epitaph. It's epitaph? No, that's not the word.
Epithet.
Motto.
Hope not.
Epithet, yes.
Motto.
It's like not your epitaphs.
It would be an unusual epitaph, wouldn't it?
Here lies the very lucky.
Very lucky.
Yeah, here they are, dead. They're really lucky.
He was missing one leg, an arm, several eyes.
Super lucky.
Super lucky, that guy.
Sorry.
Called him Lucky Jim.
Would seem to be your... What was the word again?
Epithet.
That thing. Epithet. You went into the jungle without a guide, and you made it back? I don't think I've ever heard of such a thing.
Amazingly, we did live. We lived and learned that we know now that we need more help in that way. We need to be better prepared.
Absolutely.
Aye, that we do.
Yes.
So, yes, a guide would be very nice. Thank you very much.
I have, as a matter of fact, several guides within the city. And he then goes into listing off the guides that he has. And if you bear with me 2 seconds, I will get up who they are. So, Jobal says that he has a number of guides throughout the city, and they are Zarka, who is actually a native of the jungle, but who resides mostly in the city. Zarka has been born in the jungle and apparently knows most of the dangers very well. Jobal says that she has apparently some issue with the winged folk, the terror folk of Chult. But if you wanted to learn more, you can take that up with her. I'm now going to show you Azarka's handout so that you can see what it looks like.
Awesome. It's got like an OkCupid Match.com style dating profile.
It does indeed. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, that is not a comforting expression she's wearing, is it? Like, if you rocked up at a first meeting and she looked at you like that...
It's a bit of a resting bitch face.
I mean,
it is a bit of a resting
bitch face. A little
face.
bit like she can smell something.
I'm not swiping right.
That is, I'm going to leave your corpse, to the bugs
it's
in
kind
the jungle somewhere.
She's sucking her teeth at you. That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not a good look. But anyway.
So that is Azarka.
So she charges 5 gold coins per day, requires 30-day payment up front. Oh!
Yeah,
what if she died after 2 days? That's a lot.
That is the standard payment. So that is what Jobal tells you. That is the standard that all of his guides will require from you if you're to take up their services.
Yeah, 150 gold is a bit steep, to be honest with you.
Yeah, trust me. When I started setting out this Tomb of Annihilation campaign, I was looking up like how much you'd have to spend. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It does say for those who aid her in a personal quest, she'll waive her fee and guide them to places no one else has found.
Yes.
The quest will take us to Firefinger, the evil terror folk who roosted atop the Firefinger and stole a wooden mask from me.
Okay.
I want it back.
Okay, guys. So there is a slight trick here. So those parts, Jobal can tell you a bit about her and a bit about the fact that she was born in the jungle, and can tell you about the payment fee.
Yeah.
That second bit, I need you to suspend some disbelief there. You
we
don't
can't see
know
it.
that bit.
It didn't happen.
Yeah. So the tricky
Fine.
thing here is
so
I
just
want to show you what these people look like so that you have an idea of who they are.
So, and only read the first paragraph, basically, yeah?
Yeah. This is me trying to best work out how to moderate this, and essentially he is running through the list of who is available, and if you want to find out more about them and to learn that bit,
then we go and speak to them.
Yeah. So this is me basically sort of essentially hand waving you going and meeting them, but you can go and meet them if you want to have a specific interaction with them. But yes, you guys as the players can know that yes, there are these quests. She wants you to go to Firefinger, but you as the actual characters don't know that yet because you haven't actually gone and talked to her about it.
No, that's cool.
Yep. So you have Azarka, you have Iku, who's about to appear. So Iku she is something of a philosopher, Jobal tells you. So she is one that prefers to do good in the world. She has a bit of a reputation for being a bit picky with who she will actually take up contracts with. They have to be people that hold up to a moral standard she looks for, and is basically saying that she knows many mysteries of the jungle and will be very pleased with you if you do good by getting rid of the evil that is in the jungle.
I'm guessing she's also a Cholton native.
She is also a Cholton native, yes, but one that was born. Well, actually, I don't know where she was born now that I think about it. She's come to Port Nyanzaro, but where exactly she came from, Jobal doesn't know. Mind you, he doesn't actually know exactly where Azarka came from either. She was just born in the jungle.
So he said that, he told us that Azarka had issues with winged folk. Does Iku have any issues that he would tell us about or anything like that?
She's particularly hateful of the undead. So she is definitely one that wants to get rid of the undead if possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I think that's you can infer from that by evil she means getting rid of the undead in the jungles. Next, he has Salida, who is apparently one of his most charming guides, according to Jobal. This is Celinda. She is another native of Chult. This one born just outside in Tirki Anchorage, apparently. She has something of a reputation for sort of trying to poach guide groups from the other guides in order to, get some pay. She's certainly the most prolific of Jobal's guides. And she is also apparently a delightful conversationalist, according to Jobel.
Okay.
It sounds like he's selling more than just her services as a guide, doesn't it, really?
It does, rather.
Delightful conversationist, highly skilled, won't be disappointed, buy now, regret nothing.
Yeah.
What happens in Port Nyanzaro stays in Port Nyanzaro.
Mm-hmm. So, that is Salida. Then have Musharib is the next one that Jobel told you about. And yes, you are correct. That is the dwarf that you were asked to go and speak to by Firebeard. Musharib is an albino dwarf, and so is a native of the jungles of Chult as well. He is apparently obsessed with reclaiming an ancestral forge, according to Jobel, something that he personally thinks is a suicide mission, as apparently the place is infested with fire newts.
Fire newts. Okay.
Fire newts.
A fire newts. Actually, I suppose we'd need to speak to him about them, wouldn't we? I can't just ask you because he would need to.
Yeah.
Like really angry newts.
Do you know what? If you ask Jobel, he will basically say that they are sort of scampering, flaming lizards, essentially, like tiny dragons.
Are they very big?
No, he says they're tiny.
Are they in Harry Potter world a bit like Blast into shrews?
No.
Okay.
Just as an aside, completely out of game, out of character.
Of course.
Do normal dwarves have an issue with albino dwarves, or do they just go, "Oh, it looks a bit pale. He's all right."
Not that I'm aware of. It's just these are the type of dwarves that you get in Chult.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I was just interested to know.
I think it's a quirk of the region. It's just that the dwarves are albino here, for some reason. I don't really know why. I think it's just shits and giggles. But yeah, that's Musharib. Jobel is then a little hesitant to mention his last couple of options, but eventually lets you know that he has a couple more guides. These two come as a pair. This is Farul and Gondolo. Here we go.
So why do they come as a pair?
So they come as a pair because the two of them came to Port Nyanzaro some years ago with a veritable treasure trove of ill-gotten gains that they almost immediately lost gambling on dino races, having tried to buy themselves a Triceratops that turned out to be one of the slowest racing dinosaurs that Port Nyanzaro had ever seen. As a result, Jobel freely tells you that they are completely destitute, but have apparently acquired a map that they believe leads to a treasure trove somewhere in the jungle. They also do come with the bonus of owning said Triceratops that they now use as a pack animal whenever they take parties into the jungle.
They sound mildly inept, but it can't hurt to have a Triceratops on your side, right?
Yep. To be honest, I like to picture them as Tulio and Miguel from Road to El Dorado. It's kind of how I picture them.
On the trail we blaze.
Yes.
Fantastic film.
Your Triceratops bit me in the butt.
Not only is that a great movie, it's also by far the most weirdly sexual of all of the.
Oh yeah.
It is like the whole like priestess thing and everything is really like very close to the mark for a kids film. Like very, very close.
We need to mute you for a second so you can have a moment alone. Just
maybe.
I've never actually seen it.
I need a moment.
Have moments yourself.
It's a damn fine thing we're not doing this on webcam. Let me tell you, because this will be an awkward moment for us all. I'd have to put clothes on. It's terrible.
Anyway, so that is
lockdown.
That is Farul and Gondolo, who I'm probably going to keep mispronouncing. So I probably will just call them Miguel and Tulio, because hell, that's how I'm characterizing them.
Because why the hell not?
So that's those two. And last but not least is apparently the mad dwarf Hugh Hackenstone.
I like him already.
I thought you were about to go Hugh Hefner.
No, not Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hackenstone.
Mad dwarf Hugh Hefner. Yeah.
Hugh Hackenstone, Hackenstone even, is a dwarf with a singular mission, apparently. He wants to get rid of the red dragon that has settled in the south of Chult. Not many people have seen it, yet apparently Hugh Hackenstone, who apparently lost an arm to this dragon, knows that this has taken up residence in an old dwarven mine that he wants to reclaim. Much like Musharib, he is after, what is owed to the dwarves. And if you help him take down this dragon, which Jobel tells you has apparently been named Tinder, then he will be most grateful.
Help Hugh swipe right. Great minds.
You get to the mine and you find the dragon just sat there with a little phone, just swiping right, swiping left. It's like would burn.
Left, right.
It's like, oh, why can't the screen recognise my claw? Bloody touchscreens. Yeah.
So you will find all of those handouts in your journals if you wish to peruse them at a later date. And essentially what this is hand-waving is that you now know all of the guides that are under Jobel's command, and he has just spent a good probably half an hour to an hour elaborating on the different guides that he has.
Yeah.
And is also, because you are potentially paying customers, he is also offering Azon as a guide to finding the guide, so to speak. If you would like, he can help you in finding each of these guides should you wish to actually introduce yourselves to them.
I think it'd be good to actually go and meet them all and see what we think. You know, obviously to be guys, we're going to be sat with them and stuff, and on talking to him, see what fits and why, you know, and what who'd be better.
So in a meta-gamey kind of capacity, would you say that each one of these kind of represents like a mini quest?
Yeah,
essentially. I imagine they know different parts of Chult as well.
Yeah.
Well, but not all of them have quests associated with them, do they? Or is it just some of them? Or do all of them have quests?
Not all of them do.
He might not know until we talk to them.
Yeah, so actually most of them have a sort of personal quest that they have. Azarka's got the thing with the Firefinger and the Terrafolk. Julio and Miguel have got a map, and they basically want a party to help them go find this treasure trove that they're certain is 100% there, guys.
Misharev wants us to get rid of the fire nukes.
Hugh Hackenstone wants you to get rid of the dragon.
Yes, the fool.
And then Salida and Iku don't necessarily have like a mission in mind, but Iku is wanting people to get rid of the evil in the jungle, so if you can convince her that you're good, she might waive the fees. It just depends.
Well, I am Cleric of Thought, so
it's our kind of general thing anyway.
Yeah. And Salida's basically got going for her is that she knows the jungle better than anyone and believes that the others are basically trash. So,
but also, I don't like the hard sell, and he's pushing her quite a lot.
There is that as well.
Salida. Yeah. By the way, when Hugh Hackenstone is brought up by Jobel, and he starts to kind of describe him and then talk about, oh yeah, he had his arm bitten off by a dragon, and he wants to like reclaim whatever it was, he wants to go and kill the fucking dragon, basically. You see Percival's demeanour changes very, very slightly.
Does his moustache start twitching?
Slightly. There's a kind of
just at the edges.
There's a vibration. No, he you notice he actually goes a bit more silent. So he's not doing quite so much talking. Also, when he was mentioning all these people, I know it's probably a bit late now, it's doing an insight check, but especially with Salida. Is there anything, whether it's perception, whether it's insight, whatever, that we gain from what he's not telling us, if that makes sense? If any of you guys would like to pick something up on that, you can, and by all means, roll an insight. We're doing insight. 12. 17.
As Rana is currently a monkey, Rana is not going to be rolling an insight check.
As Rana is currently a monkey. Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's a good reason, right? Yeah. I got a 15. I got 17. Got a 15. 15, 17.
I was going to say, can I roll an insight check on what's up with Percival?
Yeah, sure. Whisper roll it to me, if you can.
Oh, hang on, yeah.
Just, at this point, because he's trying to, blend in and prove he's a monkey, Rana starts the whole monkey grooming thing on the back of his head.
Licking into his hair.
like combing through the hair, looking for any lice or grubs and things. And if he does find anything, he'll pick it up and then just drop it on the floor.
Okay.
Pretend to eat it, but he's not that enamoured with the whole eating bugs thing.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yep. I did also message Percy, by the way, but I don't know if he's seen that. Yeah, sorry. Whispers are happening.
Actually, Greg, yes.
Yes. Yep. Got ya.
There you go.
Got ya. Yep.
Yes.
All right. Okay, next. Sorry. So, yeah, back to your insights. In all honesty, actually, all you're getting from that, it doesn't actually seem to be a hard sell exactly. It's just that Jobel personally seems to think that Celinda is delightful. He seems to think that of his guides, she's just the most friendly. Because you got to remember, Jobel doesn't really care which of them you go for, because at the end of the day, he gets paid, regardless which one you choose. He either gets paid or he has to beat them up for not having paid him his fees. It's not that he's hard selling any particular one. If anything, there was only really the slight sort of almost embarrassment at admitting that he has Farul and Gondalo and Hugh Hackenstone under his wing as well, because they're kind of mad and, broke. So it's kind of, it's you kind of pick up on that. But for Salida, he just thinks that she's very charming.
And is there any food in the box or anything like that? Have they put any food out? Because I know we're meant to be having lunch there as well. Or does that happen after we've watched the fights?
I think the monkey's eating it all.
So food in the form of snacks is being provided by the bar. So it's
okay.
So it's again.
So
it's kind of,
Siliqui's going to get up and get like a handful of nuts. I'm assuming there's some kind of nuts.
Yeah, there'll be some kind of nuts somewhere.
Yeah, so she's going to grab a handful of nuts and sit back down next to Zibby and actually just like basically hand a few of the nuts to Rana.
Okie dokie.
Rana takes the nuts and starts to quite noisily eat them. Like he's enjoying making every mouthful as loud and as crunchy as possible. And as he does so, he leans forward and he leans a little monkey elbow on the back of Zibby's head and then just munches really close to his ear.
Just to be a dick.
Zibby reaches up and just between thumb and forefinger just takes the food away from him and just puts it on the table.
After Jobel has finished with his kind of, here you go, these are the people you can choose.
Sales pitch. Yep.
Here's what you could have won. Percival, once he kind of regains his composure, he turns to Jobel and says, interestingly, one of those guides that you spoke of, a Musharib, I believe.
Yes, Musharib.
It's actually tied to something else that we're here for. I believe that you're aware of Lyric Dashlin?
No, I'm aware of him. Enki as well just sort of nods in your general direction, taking our eyes away from the fighting.
Well, we managed to make it all the way to Camp Vengeance, where the Order of the Gauntlet were actually holed up after a terrible attack by the undead and some quite nasty goblins. We went on the way back. We brought back some missives that they had, and as it so happens, Lyric, because we're on first name terms, he's more than happy with that.
Enki looks a little puzzled, but just shakes it off.
I told you, you'll get to know Percival quite quickly.
Everybody does. Ding! He just looks at the camera, a little sparkle. Yeah, well, he has asked us to look into setting up some form of supply chain, firstly, to Camp Vengeance, and secondly, one of the captains of Camp Vengeance, Mr. Firebeard, he, not Captain Firebeard, no, wanted us to get in contact with, I believe it was Musharib, with regards to sorting out some kind of
a forge.
Forge, there we go, that's the word.
So you were told by Firebeard that Musharib was talking about getting a forge, and Musharib agreed that getting a forge would be great for the order. So it seems like sort of you've got you've basically got yourself set up there. You killing two birds with one stone is if you help Musharib get his forge back, you'd be able to potentially get better defenses for the camp.
So, I mean, in terms of helping out the Order of the Gauntlet, they're not doing very well over there right now. Do you think that, given that they are doing some rather good work regarding getting rid of the undead of Chult, stemming the flow of evil, do you think you might go so far as to possibly help them?
Forgive me, but what would we get in return for such services?
That's a good question. I think, firstly, you would have the opportunity to say that you have been instrumental in vanquishing the evil undead of Chult, and that's no mean feat. You would end up having less undead coming to your door, beating down your gates. We won't be here forever, you know, helping you guys like we did last night.
You helped Jessamine.
Well, it could have been anybody.
Unlikely. Not many of us merchant princes go beyond the walls. Besides, sometimes Ifan with his checking his stock in the anchorage. But in general, we are no threat from the undead. They are beyond the walls, and the walls are sturdy.
Perhaps, but walls do fall. As well as that, I do believe that you would have bragging rights.
Also, if I don't know how big the tourism market is here, but if you have so much of a problem with the undead everywhere, people are not going to want to come here, or they'd already be killed by the undead. So it's going to affect your business in the long run. And on top of that, I imagine Percival, because he's always writing books and his adventures, I imagine he'll put you in his book as well, of this gracious and amazing prince who was a wonderful person.
I might write an entire chapter about Jobel and Enki.
Jobel just sort of listens to your reasoning, and he shakes his head again and just says, "We have more than enough people that visit Port Nianzaro. How do you think us merchant princes got to our positions if people didn't trade with us? We have more than enough revenue coming in to satisfy our needs. And yes, we might be one of the only, in fact the only, source of civilization on this plateau, but we have more than enough here. Our walls keep the zombies out. I still wonder what would be in it for me to help the Order. Will they pay for the services I can offer? The guides that can help this supply chain make it to the camp? Or the mercenaries that could protect the cargo?
Well, I can't say for sure that I'm not one to bargain away whatever it is that they have on the table. I'm not the man for that. But what I could say is that doing this will open up an additional revenue stream. Not only would you be able to lay claim to vast areas of the jungle, you already know that there is a vast amount of resources out there.
Roll me a persuasion, Percival.
Ooh, okay. Oh god, here we go. 8.
Just a straight 8.
Let me just double check. Oh no, hang on. 10.
10? Okay.
10. Anyone want to help?
Oh, I can help if that's okay.
You did chime in a bit.
Yep.
So.
If you're saying you're helping him out with that soliloquy, you can. Yep.
If you
Yeah.
would that be
Percival.
advantage? All right. 4.
10 it is.
Percival does it again.
Okay. Right. Oh, the dice giveth and the dice taketh away. Right. So, of the two merchant princes you're talking to, you get the sense that Enki is more positively listening than Jobel.
Yeah.
In both senses, though, it does seem they're weighing it up. Enki certainly, as I say, seems to be, moved by what you've said, that, it would be the right thing to do, and it would be a new source of income. Jobel, on the other hand, still looks doubtful, and doesn't look particularly convinced by your argument.
Right.
But he does chime in to sort of say, your travels in the jungle, what exactly is it that you said you were looking for again?
Well, I believe Wakanga here has set us up as the A-team. I'll make sure that that's put forward first. We are the A-team to find the source of this death curse.
Soliloquy was kind of ready to punch him in the hip, like from behind, if he said anything wrong there. She stood ready and okay.
Okay.
Holding her breath.
We're here to write a new book for me.
You're looking to end the death curse here in Cholt.
Yes.
I was unaware that the death curse was here in Cholt. You're sure you're in the right place?
Our intelligence leads us to believe it may well be. And anything's worth the shot, right?
Are any of you any good with cartography?
Yes. And I open my book and it's got that map.
On the book that you've just scribbled a few lines and gone, here be dragons.
I mean, this is one of my quick drawings, but you get the idea.
I mean, I'm a painter. I mean, I can... no offence, Percival, I can actually draw a bit better than Percival, but I wouldn't say any of us are skilled cartographers, although, we would be more than happy to learn. But why do you ask?
If you're going to be travelling, searching Cholt, if you were to, say, come across some of the secrets, perhaps draw on a map, create a map that might show where these places were. If you were successful, then, and presumably with my guides you would be, then you might just create a better map than, anyone else in Cholt. I'd say such information would be a fair exchange.
Is there any maps in Cholt at all at the moment?
That I know of, none that are complete. And I know most of the area around Cholt.
I mean, do you have one, the most complete one that you know of? Would we be able to see it at all to give us a better guide of areas we should cover?
Oh, I believe there is indeed. There's one back in my villa. You could see it for a price.
And what price would that be? I mean, what is your interest with them creating a more comprehensive...
Dinner and drinks?
What is your price?
We'll give you a night with our monkey.
I mean, is there any particular areas or any particular things that you would like found or things that you have heard of that you would like mysteries that you would like uncovered?
No. I simply have in my employ guides that would benefit from knowing more about the jungle. If we had more information on what was out there, my guides could better serve those parties that wish to travel in the jungle.
But surely, if we saw your map, and then we were able to find areas that have not been covered yet, and therefore make you a more comprehensive, fuller map, you would benefit from that, and so would your guides. Your guides would benefit from that, and then in turn, so would you. So why would we have to pay to see your map in the first place when we would be benefiting you and you'd be receiving payment by having a better map in the first
I
after
don't
all?
know if you would survive. You paid me in coin now. I can make my profit immediately. Whereas I'd have
This is true, but you take me. You strike me as a gambling man.
Make a persuasion, please.
9 out. We're good at this.
Yeah.
11.
That's not gonna cut it, I'm afraid. No. Jobel considers for a second and says, because you are friends of Wakanga, I'd let you see the map for 150 gold.
I mean, how good is this map? I mean, how much of Charles would you say is covered?
Why? I have the most complete map. And if you guys want to make an insight roll,
He's fucking Trump. Oh God, yes.
Yep. You guys would like, you guys can all make an insight roll on this.
20.
So 20 from you.
I got the best map. The best map in the world. It's 11.
This actually kind of makes sense. Soliloquy, you notice that Wakanga is he's surreptitiously, subtly shaken his head ever so slightly from side to side as Jobel said that.
Well, thank you, Jobel. We will have a think about that. It is quite a lot of gold, but we'll have a think. But most definitely, your guides would be most helpful to us.
Certainly, information about Cholt and its features would be most beneficial to me if I was to be, say, more inclined to help the Order. But then again, if the Order can sufficiently pay for my services, I may well help them anyway. It's a question of coin, as always with trade. You understand, of course.
Of course.
So theoretically, if we provided you with a fairly complete map, as complete as we could make, you would be more favourable towards helping set up a supply chain. Is that correct?
If you could give me a more complete map of the one I possess already, I would be most favourable towards you just in general. Do you remember what I said about getting solid with different merchant princes? This is what I mean. He wants information on Cholt, and he's saying a map. You do also have Rana. That's obviously not really being discussed right now, but that's just something to bear in mind, is that, Rana is there as a native of Cholt, who has a familiarity with the area outside of Port Nyanzaro.
Yeah.
As something to just sort of consider.
Well, we don't want to... I don't think we want to bring Mirana up because he has the
Not at the moment.
possibility of...
We're not going to tell him.
Yeah.
He's going to try and recruit him. We're not telling him anything about that at the moment.
Exactly.
If we go on a adventure, on a journey, even if we don't go very far really, but Rana tells us everything that's in his little area and we draw that out, so to speak, as part of a map, that's fine. But we don't want to tell him, oh look, our monkey's actually a guide,
Yep, you have been introduced now, tangentially, to the various guides that are in the city. You can now basically at any point decide that you want to go and meet a particular guide, and we will just hand wave say that you were able to find them. Because
so we'll, if we want to go and find them, a man in Stiletto Hills will take us to find them.
Yes, that is
standard.
Might not be
Tattoos all over his face. So basically, Mike Tyson in stilettos.
In stilettos.
He's not necessarily following you everywhere, but we are just hand waving the whole going and finding him and then finding the guides. Okay.
Walking along the street. Yeah.